Today's video is brought to you by Motionvfx. Color grading. I get asked this a lot actually about how I color grade my shots, so thank you all for appreciating all of my hard work. Am I a colorist? No, I don't classify myself as a professional colorist at all. So take a lot of this advice with a grain of salt. I'm not professionally trained. I just base all of this based off of experiences that I've had and just things that I've come to find work best for my workflow. With that being said, since I'm not a colorist, I'm also a DP with a vision, and a lot of the times to get this vision looking great to deliver, I need to learn how to color my footage accordingly to give it the particular look that I have in my head, especially when we're working on a budget and we don't have a colorist that we can afford to budget in to send this off to do all the dirty work for us. So we do need to learn stuff behind the screen, which is honestly very fun, but very overwhelming and nerve-wracking like 98% of the time. I like to, when I go in, like finish a project, I dump all my footage and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna color all this. I color it, get the excitement out of the way, and then I'm like, wow, this sucks. I can't be alone. But with that being said, for the longest time, I still do. I found myself overcomplicating how to color grade, and I'm always learning and I'm always getting better. And that's something that I mentioned before, but I found myself overcomplicating these node structures with like 15 nodes, all of this ridiculous stuff, because I felt like I had to prove to myself that I was professional and legitimate. So I added in all of these nodes and all of these complications that really ended up ruining the footage and breaking it and just crushing it and making it look ugly. So I wanted to take this time to talk about this video. By the way, my name is Brady. That just hit me. I didn't introduce myself and I'm so sorry. My name is Brady, and welcome back to the channel. If you like this video or any of the other videos, please hit that subscribe button as a birthday gift to me, because by the time you're watching this, I will have been turned 25 because my birthday was yesterday, which actually it's Sunday. So I don't know if I'm coming from the past or the future or the present, but it's my birthday. So a birthday gift to me, hit that subscribe button and share it to a friend, or send me a cake or something. Gifts are always welcome. Anyway, moving on, color grading. So I recently have been introduced to two incredible tools that have helped me significantly with efficiency and also just quality of my color grades in the color grading workflow, and one of them being Phantom Luts, and an individual named Joe Familaro. Apologize if the pronunciation is poor on that, but he reached out to me and he put together these absolutely beautiful Arri Alexa conversion LUTs for a handful of cameras. I want to say it's the a lot of Sony's, Blackmagics, and of course the Arri cameras as well. But these are conversion LUTs where you just pretty much plug and play, and it looks, and you're gonna see this as we go through this, it looks absolutely beautiful immediately. Just plug and play. It's amazing. And then also another tool which is called Dehancer, which is a very great film emulation plugin for DaVinci Resolve, and I believe for other editing softwares as well. I need to correct myself, and I'll leave links down below. But Dehancer does a great job of emulating amazing film stocks in beautiful ways and giving you so much control. So I do want to mention that both of these were sent to me. I wasn't required to make a video or say anything at all about them. I genuinely, I plugged everything in and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I wanted to share this with you because I know color grading is stressful for a lot of us. It's very difficult and it's very overwhelming. And I wanted to share this with you all and show how easy these plugins make your color grading workflow at such a high quality point as well. So I know I've been rambling a lot. I did want to talk about just the tools and what they are. This isn't necessarily a tutorial of how to use either Dehancer or the conversion LUTs, the Phantom LUTs, but I think you'll get a good sense for how I use them and how I kind of work with them as I go through a few of these shots. But again, this is not like a technical review or demonstration of how to. So there's that disclaimer. But diving in here, I want to take a look at, I've just got a handful of random clips that I've taken throughout the time here. Some of them you may have seen, some of them you may have not, but plenty of fun clips here. And I want to divide this into two different ways that I will either use one program or both of the programs or LUTs or plugins together to get a fantastic look. Sometimes I'll go through and just put the Phantom conversion LUTs into the Rec 709 Alexa profile, And then I'll use the Dehancer additionally to add in some grain and some bloom and some halation, which you're gonna see, which is fantastic that you can do with the Dehancer plugin. You can select very particular elements that you can add in to your color grade, into your workflow. So let's go ahead, and I wanna go for some really cool film looks first. This one looks really fun. Just got like a cool hallway shot. And the first things that I always do is I just add like 3 or 4 nodes. I don't always use them, but it just gives me a great starting point to work with. Let's close this out here a little bit more. Make this a little bit larger. So I usually add in with the phantom LUTs, which I want to do first. I add in these LUTs around the fourth node. So it gives me a little bit beforehand just to add some adjustments just to prepare the footage for the LUT, if that makes sense. So I always just go for usually this Pocket 4K neutral Gen 5. That's just the very neutral profile. Of course, there is, he's got Jamaica, which seems to have a little bit more of like a greenish yellow, which honestly, you know what, let's switch. I'm gonna do that. I love the green tones in that. You get some ice blue cool tones, always looks great. All of them look beautiful. So let's get these out of the way here. I mean, look at this. Immediately, like it's beautiful. Like I could leave it at this and be completely done. But I do not like how it's, I mean, in this area, it's very kind of crushed. And actually, let's make this a little easier. There we go. Now we've got a little thing there so you can see. I don't like how it's very crushed down here in the low end. So that's why I've got these earlier nodes. And the first one I always leave for white balance. Let's just call it white balance really quick. And the second one is usually my exposure adjustments. So I do need to adjust the exposure. Usually I just bring in the offset and start to bring in, I really want this like subtle shadow detail in here, but nothing too much. So I'll bring it to right around there and kind of smooth off that highlight roll off coming through the window, and then pinch that in with the midtones. So I kind of bring, a lot of the times I'll bring up the gamma and then bring down the gain just to smooth out this roll off. Because as you can see, look how sharp this steep roll off is right there. And then you turn it on and it brings everything a little bit more into the midtones. Kind of liking a little bit less shadow detail. So something right there I'll do, and you can see that it just adds in, I mean, it might even be a little bit too drastic. I might bring down these midtones just because I really like the eyes going straight to this highlight area with the light coming through the window. So there's that, and sometimes I'll add in like a contrast saturation. Let's just call it contrast. I think I spelled that wrong, but sometimes I'll just add like a little touch and a little bit of saturation. But I really don't, I don't think this needs it at all. So I'm just gonna keep that off. And really right here as we are, like, look at that. 3 nodes and it looks absolutely immaculate, and you can call it right there. Sometimes I'll add in like a noise reduction as well. So let's just go through really quick. Let's just do the old 8 there, unlink that, chroma 6.2. Learned that from Kazi actually over on his channel. Super huge help for color grading. I'll leave a link down to his page below as well. But really, that's the meat of it. So now you can call it just like this. Just have it right there. Sometimes, I mean, you can go into your effects and an additional node and add in, say, like a little bit of glow, maybe some glow and grain. And again, I'll just go into soft light, bring that down, that threshold, just to bring up the glow of that highlight, and then blend that a little bit. So that's an option as well. But rather than doing that, one thing that I have recently loved to use in combination with these LUTs is Dehancer. And, there we go, that's how we do it. Dehancer is a wonderful tool, which we're gonna get into. Immediately you plug it in, it looks like garbage because it's 2 LUTs and 2 plugins and color profiles on top of each other. So you can go through and you can adjust, I mean, a quick preview, all the film stocks. There's ridiculous amounts of film stock. And as someone who has gotten into film heavily this year, this is like Christmas morning. But right now we're not gonna add any film stocks to it, emulations to it. So I'm just gonna close out some of these, and you can just enable and disable a lot of these. And the ones that I'm here looking for are these three right here. So we've got the film grain, which you can see pretty nicely in this area as I turn it off and on. And you can tweak that as so. Sometimes it comes off a little bit too strong. I usually tone it back a little bit just for computer speed. We're gonna close that. But then the other two are halation and bloom, which go kind of hand in hand together. A real quick synopsis: halation is the way that lights will hit through actual film, analog film, and the way that it bounces back and then re-exposes the back part of the film stock. And this isn't completely scientific, it's a quick synopsis. And then in turn, it makes like a very nice red kind of glow around very sharp highlights, which you can see in here. Look right on this highlight area. When I turn it off and on, you can see that it's glowing this subtle red. So that gives it that really true organic film look. And then in combination with bloom, bloom is gonna bloom the highlights as well. So that's a little bit too strong. It's nice because I can kind of mask out the halation and just talk about exactly where I want that, which I was pretty happy. I might add in a little bit of diffusion and maybe just like pull back the impact, and that might be too strong. Real quick there, mask it back out. You can see that it's got this very subtle look. And then the bloom as well, I think it's way too bright in my opinion. So we can just go in and save these highlights a little bit and maybe bring down the highlights as well in here. And then the same thing, you can mask that out just to see where it's really being affected. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I mean, talking about very few nodes and seeing the drastic, like, look at this. It's just, the one thing I do want to mention is Dehancer does take a toll on your computer. It's slow. There's a lot going on, so your processing and all of that techie stuff is going to be a little bit slower. But that's honestly like, it's gorgeous. So super happy with that. Let's look at a couple of different ways to do this though. Just to keep the speed of everything, I'm just gonna grab that still and I'm gonna bring that over to this. And again, just like practically plug and play. I mean, everything looks amazing. I want to bring that exposure down and look at it's just, it makes it easy. It makes it very easy for me because like I said, I used to overcomplicate these node structures to the point where it looked bad. So the fact that I can just use a tool like this, literally strip everything down to the bare minimum, add in one LUT. Let's go to that Jamaica again. I love that. That's it. And you can literally call it a day with that. It blooms nicely. You've got this beautiful contrast, beautiful colors. Let's do it once more on this one as well, and then we'll move on to a couple different techniques. I mean, look at that. It's gorgeous. Like, there's nothing else you need to do. You can just plug it and play with that. So tools like this are making it very, very easy to go through this post-production workflow quick, efficiently, but still come out with absolutely beautiful. Like, this is my go-to color grading workflow right now, just adding in these conversion LUTs and just fine tuning if I want more of a film look or less of a film look, and just fine tune it all and make it look beautiful. So talking about the post-production workflow, that brings me to our sponsor for today, which is Motionvfx. Motionvfx is a wonderful platform with a whole variety of plugins and elements for a whole variety of different softwares, whatever editing software that you work on. Whether you're looking for just stock elements with water bubbles and smoke and glitter and prisms and light leaks and dust and snow and all of that fun stuff. But also, you've got plenty of great graphics, even for DaVinci Resolve, which are a little bit more difficult to find. A lot of intro graphics and all these great elements where you can add in logos and callouts and titles and all of these cinematic LUTs as well. There's a lot of fantastic assets in here, and I've been using the Motionvfx like YouTuber assets and callouts and everything for a couple weeks now, and really coming to like them and just making them increase the production value of my callouts and workflows quite significantly, very quick and easily. So I do want to mention, at the moment, they've got an incredible Black Friday deal going on for a lot longer than just Black Friday. I'll leave a link down below to that, but even if you're watching afterwards, after the fact, after the holidays have gone, they've got a bunch of incredible assets on here. So I'm going to leave a link down below with everything that you need to know there. But let's go ahead and get back to our color grading tutorial. So now let's bounce around to a couple other clips that I've got here, and I'm not really going in any exact order. I'm just gonna bounce around, and I want to do one more with the Phantom Luts. I've got this shot from the boxing scene that I did in a couple videos back. This I actually got with the black magic. Let's just find a nice hero frame. Right. I liked that. Right there. Bam. So again, a couple nodes. Hello. And then on the third node, I'm just gonna add in this natural Gen 5. And I mean, like, again, I could talk all day on it. That looks absolutely beautiful. I do wanna make this white balance node just maybe a little bit cooler, because I was going for this really cool cyan look. And then you drag it down, and it looks amazing. Like, as it is right there, that's all I needed to do. I mean, I'm loving that right there as well. And then you wanna add in that Dehancer node. Whoa, hello. Maybe I could adjust a little bit of this contrast actually, like bring down the blacks and maybe up with the highlights, just to really increase that hard contrast. But I mean, like, ultimately that's gorgeous. And then you can add in really quick that Dehancer node as well. We'll bring that right there. And you just go to edit that, and you disable all of these, the film stocks. And there we go. So then there it is, that halation, which you can really see that halation come into play right here. Look at this hard light. Everything shifts. You can see it in the waveform as well. You see this little like warm shift, because ultimately as hot lights are coming in, hitting the film and then reflecting back on that red layer of the film emulsion, that's where you're going to get that red look. And there's a lot of great resources on the Dehancer website as well about understanding not only like how, but why everything works, which I like to know why everything works before I'm just going using it randomly. So there's another example of just how easy, like literally, like you can snap it in and yes, there you go. So the other option is actually replicating a film stock, which is a very cool tool. And I want to go into this. Let's go into, what are we feeling? Some nice anamorphic footage shot on the Vasins over the summer. So let's get rid of this here, make that a little bit bigger. And then let's, same thing, I have a couple preparation nodes, but then this is where I'm gonna bring in Dehancer. And immediately it doesn't look too good, because that's why you need to go and you need to tell Dehancer, what is this? They don't know what this footage is. They don't know how to interpret it. So I go through and I can choose the particular camera, Blackmagic, the Pocket Cinema camera, Gen 5, ISO 400. There we go. Now we're starting to get somewhere. A lot of the, like one of the biggest film stocks is this Kodak Vision 3 in the cinematography world and in the film world. I'm still learning a lot of it, so I don't want to speak on it like I know everything, because I definitely don't. But in my film photography, I'm obsessed with Gold 200. It's a beautiful film stock. So I love to resort to Gold 200. It's a beautiful stock, and then I'll just add that in there, and you already have this beautiful film look. I mean, it looks fantastic. You can see the shadows are lifted quite nicely in a very pleasing way. And let's bring this into one more as well. Let's grab that. I just want to copy exactly what we have there. Get that out of the way. Bam. And you've got a beautiful highlight look, but it's not over yet. That's not all that you can do. I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. It excites me, and it's very fun, and I love to work with this. So more customization that you can do. The options are really endless. I mean, there's the exposure compensation, temperature compensation, all of these different things to really fine tune your look. Again, this isn't a tutorial of how it works. It's just more of how I like to use it. And you can even push and pull the film stock, because as you push and pull film stock, either by developing it either a stop high or a stop low, it'll have different characteristics. So you can play around with the characteristics. Also, these black points, if it's too contrasty, you can bring down the black point or bring down the white point and just really make everything low and to your liking in the waveform. Additionally, that's where we can get into this film grain that we had before. Obviously, film is going to have film grain, and you can adjust however much size or amount that you would like. I mean, let's just overdo it for the sake of YouTube compression. I don't know how much you can actually see. Looking super cool. And then you add in this halation and this blooming just to make, like, really sell it that it's film. I mean, like, you get this a little bit too much grain. Let's turn it down for a second to see some detail. Turn that completely off, but you can see that you've got this really nice blooming around the flowers and this halation that it just sells this really soft filmic look, and those combined together, like, it's very, it's a very nice look. And then one more part of Dehancer is that you can adjust the actual, like, print stock, or I guess delivery print film, being Kodak 2383 print film. Again, I'm still learning all of this kind of as I go. Definitely not a pro, but it's to my learnings that the print film is what all of like the film negatives are printed onto to be able to go through projectors before, I guess, scanning and all of that. You probably know the answer to this if you're watching it, and if you do, please leave a comment down below. I'm always trying to learn a little bit more because, again, it helps to know why things work on top of just doing it because you do it, from a philosophy kind of standpoint. So there's a little bit of a synopsis on Dehancer as well. Let's go in and what are we thinking? We got a couple more shots, a couple more minutes, all over the place. I love this. Let's go for this winter shot. This winter shot, I was playing with it earlier actually, and I added on the natural Arri Alexa, the Phantom Lut, and just straight out of the box, like, bam, beautiful. I didn't need to do anything, and I was like, wow, this is why I love them. But we're gonna touch on Dehancer for a second, so I'm just gonna add in a couple nodes there. Add Dehancer to that. Get rid of this here. Make the screen a little bigger. We gotta tell Dehancer what camera I'm using. Always the trusty old Blackmagic. ISO 400. And I love lately Fuji. Fuji is it's known as a cooler film stock, like cooler tones, or I guess cooler in color temperature. So I always go for this Fuji Eterna Vivid 500. But one thing I like to use it in combination with is, like I said, for that Kodak 2383 print stock, instead of using like a Fuji with a Kodak print stock or print film, I will change it to Cineon Film Log. And then I go into, let's see, where is it? Film Looks, and this Fuji 3513 DCI in there. So now it just looks very nice, and you've got this honestly beautiful filmic look with 2 nodes. I mean, like, beautiful. And then we go into the little things like the grain, that halation, and the bloom. And a little bit high on my end, a little bit too much. I definitely bring down a little bit of the impact, and maybe bring up that save highlights. But honestly, I mean, looking at that, it's beautiful. I love the film look. The film look is just, it's natural. It is, in a way, perfect. I know I'm rambling. This isn't like my typical style of video, but color grading is, I mean, it's complex, it's difficult. It's especially as DPs, and on the DP side of things, we don't have this natural inclination for coloring as we do for shooting and lighting a scene, so on and so forth. So let's go through and let's just color 1 or 2 outright because I'm rambling and it may be hard to follow, and I am sorry for that. So let's say, are we feeling this? No, I'm not feeling this one. Beautiful salt flats shot though. Let's do this shot of me. Film camera, film vibes. I kind of base myself like, do I want to go for a film look? Do I want to go for this more clean cut look? Loving the film look on this, so let's go ahead and find a nice hero frame of me right there. I'll go through, add in 4 nodes. Leave that one for noise. This one's going to be the white balance. This one's going to be exposure adjustments. And this one is going to be Dehancer. We'll just call it DEH. Let's go ahead and add in that Dehancer node. And I got to tell the camera again. Blackmagic, 6K, ISO 400. There we go. We're already starting to get somewhere. I'm feeling some gold sometimes I'll just like scroll around. I'll say like, okay, what do I like? Some Ultra Max or some Portrait 160. All of them have very different looks. But let's say I like the gold 200, and then we'll have that on some 2383 print film that gives you some nice contrast. And then I want to tweak around just a little bit. Tweak the black point. Obviously you don't want to crush it like so. I'll bring that up, and I kind of follow the waveform as well as visually what I'm looking at here. And that white point, I like right around there, and you've got this nice look. I'll go into the halation next as well, and the bloom. And I just want to mask out and find out like where this subtle halation is coming from. And I see it right in the places where I want it, right around the camera. Obviously, if you bring up this diffusion, you're going to start to see it pretty heavily. I mean, too heavily. You see how there's a whole red cast. But I like where that is. You can just see it in subtle spots around the camera. I'll bring it up a little bit more just to exaggerate it. And then I'll bring out the blooming mode as well. You can kind of see where it's blooming in these little highlights. There, we'll call it at that. And sometimes I'll just go in and I'll go into that first node and adjust the white balance a little bit. If it's just like a little bit warm for my liking, or maybe green. I mean, I wasn't upset with where it was. And that looks super nice right there. So super simple. I'll just copy that as well. Go into here. This really nice film look. Loving the way that looks. It could sell me. I could definitely look at this and be convinced that it's film. So one more. Let's do one more, then we'll call it. I'm gonna go through and you know what? Let's do this one. We got some snow last week, so I was loving it. Looked fantastic. So I got this car driving by. This one we're gonna do one of the Phantom Luts, just to close everything out. And let's go in here to Phantom, Pocket 4K, Gen 5 color science, and then this. Let's go for the neutral. Am I feeling the ice? No, I think I'm feeling neutral. So you apply that to current node. Again, I mean, just straight how it is. It's beautiful, fantastic. I might adjust a little bit of the exposure just to really soften this out and give it like a really dim, low look. Crush those blacks a little bit more. There's that. You could sell it there if you want to do like a sharpen. Like sharpen everything up just a little bit. It's not too, or it's too soft for your liking. You can do a couple effects after you do that, a conversion into the Rec 709. Or be like me and get this. Oh, that's annoying. Be like me and go for this halation film look because it's addicting and it's fun. Let's see. There we go. Halation and bloom. And you can see like just on the car headlights, you can see the difference that makes. Just this really nice soft. It takes the digital edge off 100%. And you can kind of save some of the highlights that are in there. And there's some other fun things that you can do with film breath and gate weave that I don't really want to get into at the moment. There's a lot of, like I said, great resources that are around on the internet. But here's a quick synopsis. I mean, it's not a traditional color grading video. I just wanted to share my workflow and what I've been doing lately because I've gotten a lot of questions about my color grading process and what that looks like. So this is kind of what it looks like, a little bit neater and not as messy and all over the place. But I really hope that this is helpful for all of you. I'm gonna leave links down below with discount codes, this, that, and the third, all those great things down below for Dehancer and Phantom Luts as well. And that's going to have to wrap up this video. So now you don't have to be as stressed about color grading and it can be fun again, just like how it was for me because it wasn't fun for the longest time. I hated it. So I've been rambling like crazy and I appreciate you guys, and it's my birthday soon and I'm gonna go celebrate, and thank you guys for just being here. That's the best birthday present as it is, and I love you all and thank you, and I hope you had a great holiday, and I hope you have a great holiday to come. I'm gonna go drink this coffee.